In the tradition, again, when the pointing out instruction is given, then you're given 4 slogans to help you kind of relate to the spirit of working with a non-dual spiritual system, which the Mahamudra and Dzogchen systems are the non-dual spiritual systems par excellence within Tantra. But integral spirituality, the whole integral vision, is based on that model. As Ken puts it, Akul is nothing more than a completely updated postmodern map of samsara. What's underlying that map of samsara is the recognition of this very state. So what this tradition says about it is basically, these slogans kind of have the same format. There's 4 sentences. My invitation to you is to write them down. I think they could be helpful to you. They're contemplations. First one is too close, you can't recognize it. Too close, you can't recognize it. Too profound, you can't appreciate it. Third one is too simple, you can't believe it. The fourth one is too good, you can't accept it. Now, who's the you in all these statements? What voice? Diane started out with that voice yesterday. It's the voice of the self. It's too close, the self can't recognize it. What does this mean? The 16th Karmapa, one of the progenitors of the Mahamudra tradition in the West, said, looking at the Western students who were assembled in front of him, what you don't understand is that Dharma is closer to you than an eyelash on your eyeball. The Dharma is closer to you than an eyelash on your eyeball. You're not seeing it. You're not recognizing it. Similarly, the true, non-dual, always already present nature of mind is too close. So close that the self can't see it. The second slogan, too profound, you can't appreciate it. Our conventional mind, our self-structure, simply freaks out. It freaks out and it contracts against this experience. It's too big, too frightening, too overwhelming to our egoic or our self-center of gravity. It simply overwhelms it. What the tradition points out is that the basic enemy to this profundity is our speed. And as I mentioned the other day in relation to a question about sleepiness or thickness, the way that speed manifests most of the time is in a kind of numbness towards our experience. We're not actually directly experiencing our experience. The way to begin to clue into ordinary mind or always already one taste mind is to slow down enough so that experience starts to become self-revelatory. Experience itself starts to reveal its own transparency. Hence the training involved in the traditional path. What we start to see in this tradition is that the nirvana that we seek is no further than our own direct experience. The notion that there's some separation between samsara and nirvana, when we begin to clue into this approach to spirituality, is a complete myth. And I wanted to read you just a small section here from Trungpa Rinpoche's book, Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism, where he describes this experience of Tamil-Geshepa as the essence of the tantric understanding of reality, and where he unpacks this somewhat paradoxical statement, samsara and nirvana are inseparable. What does that mean in relation to this experience of non-duality? Tantric wisdom brings nirvana into samsara. This may sound rather shocking. Before reaching a level of tantra, you try to abandon samsara and strive to achieve nirvana. But eventually, you must realize the futility of striving and then become completely one with nirvana. In order to really capture the energy of nirvana and become one with it, you need a partnership with the ordinary world. Therefore, the term ordinary wisdom, Tamil-Geshepa, is used a great deal in the tantric tradition. It is the completely ordinary version of form is form, emptiness is empty. It is what is. One cannot reject the physical existence of the world as being something bad and associated with samsara. You can only understand the essence of nirvana by looking into the essence of samsara. Thus, the path involves something more than simply going beyond duality, something more than mere non-dualistic understanding. You are able to see the non-dualisticness, so to speak, the isness quality of non-duality. You see beyond the negation aspect of shunyata, the negation of duality, the causal level absorption. Therefore, the term shunyata is not used very much in Tantra. In Tantric tradition, ta-ta-ta, what is used rather than shunyata, or emptiness. The word osel, or prabhasvara, which means luminosity, is also used a lot rather than shunyata. You find this reference to the Tantric tradition in the Buddha's last turning of the wheel of Dharma. Instead of saying form is empty, emptiness is form, and so on, he says that form is luminous. Luminosity is connected with the principle of the great joy or bliss. Right in the midst of our unfabricated, direct experience of whatever it is that's going on is this recognition. It's present right now. If it were anywhere else, how else could we possibly realize it? If it were anywhere else other than in our own very consciousness, according to this non-theistic view, how could we realize it? So this second slogan helps us clue into that. It's too profound, we don't appreciate it. We don't appreciate our own direct experience. We don't understand how to have our experience. What the previous stages of the path are helping us unpack is the degree to which we continuously bypass our direct experience. To think that you have to leave yourself in some way or change yourself in some way is the great myth of freedom. that Trungpa Rinpoche talked about. It's the great myth of theism which this tradition is trying to undercut.